Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Ed over here at Conrails Katellen Sub, and I got a little layout update for you guys. Figured you might want to enjoy the excitement as much as I am. So I only have one more of these switches left to put in. I'll take care of that tomorrow. But the big one that's kind of been hanging over the shoulder, if you want to say, has been a little bit of a challenge. Just getting the orientation of the switch machines correct, and then figuring out the different wiring schematics for how I want the LED indicators to present themselves. So with all of that, I can tell you that CP gap is now finally done. That is the largest interlocking on the Katellen Sub. It's 7 switches. It's a universal crossover, and then it also has a double switch that comes off of main 2 to get over towards the Penargil Industrial, as well as there's a single switch that kicks over towards the Tadmore yard lead, I guess you can call it. And that's where the access for the LERR, the Wyatt Central, and Boo Rail comes in, as well as Tadmore Yard and the industries that are on all of their individual segments. So I'll go ahead and flip the camera around and give you a little demonstration. I do have some wiring to clean up tomorrow. I mean, for those of you that know me, you know that I'm anal about the wiring being a mess. So it's just put together now. All the function tests are done. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it around. So excuse the mess, but I'll show you where we're at. Okay, so here is the entire interlocking. You can see here's main 2 right here. Main 1 is on the inside, and then here we have the Penargil Industrial. Continuing through, here's our universal crossover, and then here is main 1 continuing, and then the track going off to the left, or all the way to the outside, or inside I should say, is the Tadmore branch. So still have a couple of the mounting pins, or the actuator pins for the switch machines. I got to clip them off, but I didn't want to do anything until all the function testing was done. Here is the panel board that I made. Very easy to make. I went to Lowe's and I picked up, it's a small 8-inch by 12-inch piece of plexiglass. And then what I do is I take, to make the white, on this whole side is glossed, so you leave the protective cover on the one side. On the back side is where I went ahead and made the track diagram using white vinyl pinstriping from a automotive supply. And then once you have the pinstriping set how you like it, then you go ahead and spray the entire back side of it black. The Walthers switch components come with a template, a jig, if you want to call it that, or I don't know what they call it, but it gives you the exact mounting hole locations. So as you can see right now, we're currently lined for the Tadmore branch and lined up to go from 2 to 1. I could have put more indicator lights on the other portions of the switches. I didn't really see any benefit in doing that. If you're lined for the crossover, it'll show as yellow or amber. And then if you are lined for the mains, you will show green or no indication on this one. So we'll go ahead and show you real quick. Here's the mess underneath of all the wiring, but there's all 7 switch machines are installed. There's the distribution block, and then that goes, it's fed directly off the track bus. Up there, there's a, well, it's behind the switch machine now, you can't really see it, but there's a bus bar up there. And then there's some more switch machines over this way and all that. So I'll get all the wiring cleaned up. But I wanted to show you guys the functionality and how nice this system really is. So the Walthers switches, you come in through the one side over here where that's your power from the distribution block. And with a distribution block, you could in theory power 16 switches, because you can have 2 off of each individual lead. So for these double crossovers, it works out nicely. I don't have to run extra mounting wires. So I only used 4 positions on the distribution block, and that's for the 7 switches that are here. Then from there, you have a line out, and that goes to power your other switch that's on there. So that would come up through here and then come over to here, and that's just your line in. And your control wire is this wire here. That then goes to the back side of the panel, and you can see it mounts right there, and depending on how you flip the wires around, whether brown's on top or orange is on top, will give you the indications that you want. So we'll go ahead and test it out real quick. We're going to go ahead and throw the switch from 1 to 2. You can see we're line for the main, push the switch, there we go, and there we go. Now if we want to go ahead and cross over 1 to 2 and back to 1, there we go, 1 to 2, back to 1. So you got a bad order or something sitting in that little pocket there if you had to talk somebody by. And then there's the switch for the Tadmor Industrial. And then here are the switches for Pen Argyle. There we go. So right now you can see everything's all lit up amber. We'll go ahead and restore those quick. And just like that, we have installed CP. So just want to give you guys a quick update. Got to get this place cleaned up and get these wires tightened up. The last thing that I have to do is put on a single switch for CP Bush, which will be the northeast exit out of Bushkill Yard. And that'll also be the lead that goes down towards where the new engine facility is going to be in. But I didn't want to start building that until I had everything else in front of it done. So that's a single switch coming off the main. And then the next big hurdle is going to be trying to figure out signaling. But before I even get to signaling, I wanted to get all the switches and everything in because I got to finish ballasting the rest of the railroad. And I'm glad that I held off around the interlockings because I ended up having to tear out CP gap completely. There was a couple little weird kinks in there. I just wasn't really happy with how everything was laid out, and it was pretty rough going through there. I found a peak in one of the switches right at the frog, so we kind of manipulated that a little bit to get it to come down, and everything's running great now. So now that this is in and function tests are done, I can go ahead and clip all of the actuating rods and get trains running again because I'm on a pretty tight timeline. I do have a surgery coming up here in a couple weeks, and I won't be able to get down here for a little while. So I wanted to make sure this was all set up so the boys and I could enjoy this right up until about Thanksgiving. So I know it's a late update, but I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in, and make sure to like the page or whatever, and we'll keep posting more updates if you guys want to keep seeing how this is going. Thanks a lot. See you soon.